I'm Hannah Wood. I'm a Masters by Research student with the University of Highlands and Islands, and I'm just going to start sharing my screen with us here. I hope this is working properly. So this is about Tales of Borders, which is a film created for my research. It focuses on tales of the supernatural rooted in the landscapes of the Scottish borders and Liku 3, Nepal. Tales of Borders is an exploration of the power of stories to connect people over borders of time and space. Reflecting on the importance of borders in physical and symbolic terms, the research considers and presents oral narratives from different places and times, demonstrating the importance of imagery, symbolism, and connection to the landscape. The research question was, can oral narratives cross borders in ways that facilitate and enable cultural connections that unite and support assimilation across diverse cultural and physical landscapes, specifically with reference to aspects of the supernatural and folklore? Need to move on to the next slide. Zooming into Liku 3, here are the three of the contributors in our screen here. The community were asked if anyone would like to contribute. I received positive responses from 4 villages. Naras Andy, on the left of the screen there, is my husband, born in the village and a custodian of oral narratives. Debbie Tapper, the lady on the right there, a neighbour in her 90s.
So sorry to interrupt you, Hannah. Could you speak into your mic? Sorry, it's very blurry.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right, no problem.
Is this any better?
Yes, that's great. Thank you. Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. Debbie Tapper, a neighbour in her 90s, shared tales of her own personal experiences with the supernatural in the village. Debbie was interviewed along with her son Damondahar. Kaluba Tahar Tapper, who's no relation, another neighbour, came to our home one afternoon to perform a tantric ceremony, which I was given permission to film. One interview was conducted with Debbie and Damondahar, as it was in Nepali. Naras Pandey facilitated the live film. This took place in our garden overlooking their home. The length of the interview was led by Devi. This was so she did not become overwhelmed or tired by the process. One interview with myself and Naras Pandey followed. This was conducted in English and was held in our garden. The fieldwork data was recorded on an iPhone 7, then backed up to the University of Highlands and Islands secure OneDrive. Months later, the digital data was transferred to the UHI Digital Archives for long-term storage. The fieldwork data collection had strong foundations, which included a robust data protection policy and informed consent policy. The consent to storage and future use of the data has caveats which preclude commercial use. The conversations around consent, collection, and storage of narratives continued through to distribution of further use of the data. This safeguarding has been a thread which runs through the whole project. We took this step to ensure the intangible cultural heritage of Liku 3 would remain the intellectual property of the community of Liku 3. This had meant that the contributors had kept control of the use and development of their oral narrative. The digital storage of the oral narratives ensured the safeguarding of the tales while sustainably developing interest in the folklore and culture of the village. The digital archives is an important repository which make the data accessible to various audiences, safeguarding the narratives for younger and future generations. This is especially important as younger villagers, and increasingly the middle-aged, travel away to Kathmandu and further, often internationally. The film and archive allow the narratives to cross borders, making the content accessible to more than the few who may have the resources and skills to visit Liku 3 and talk with our community direct. The storage of data in an international academic archive brings feelings of prestige, which the community feels reflectable on their heritage and promotes respect for their tales and living culture. The confidence that the community has gathered both in itself as custodians of their living culture and contributors to the research has led us to beginning to develop further research projects to gather more oral narratives for Liku 3. The control of commercialisation and intellectual property rights has been fundamental in gaining access to and having permissions to use digital data gathered from the community and within the research parameters of Tales of Borders. The permanent control makes the archives a safe space and allows for the continued guardianship of the oral narratives of Liku 3. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. Hi, my name is Jessica Webster. I'm at the City University of New York, and in this talk, I'm going to outline an initiative in its very early stages that is to develop a consortial digital preservation program in a university system with very modest resources. This initiative is in its very early days, but I wanted to describe the problem we're trying to solve as well as our approach. I think it's vitally important to explore ways that small, under-resourced shops can work toward implementing best practices. So first, the setting. City University of New York, also called CUNY, contains more than 20 campuses, including 4-year, 2-year, and graduate level institutions, each with its own independently functioning library and library leadership. While some programs, such as the catalog and some of the databases, are centrally managed, many of the tasks and programs are either run independently by each campus or are federated. For example, our institutional repository is centralized, but each campus runs its own area of it. When it comes to archives and digital collections, some campuses have robust archives and preservation programs, and some have only a part-time person working with unique materials along with other tasks in their portfolio. Resources, subscriptions to software, and databases vary, and interest from leadership in this work varies a lot. In general, digital preservation at CUNY tends to be the least supported function among archival functions, even on campuses where there are interested librarians. Our biggest challenge is local buy-in on some campuses. The libraries across CUNY are generally underfunded, and some librarians feel they don't have the bandwidth, funding, or expertise to take on the additional work of digital preservation. In addition, few library chiefs at CUNY view digital preservation as a top priority. So we have to do a lot of persuading and a lot of supporting. There is a chief librarian across all of CUNY, and we do have her support. However, her role is to advise campus library leadership and support centralized library functions. She doesn't supervise the leaders of each library, so she doesn't really have any enforcement power. She can't decide that everyone needs to do digital preservation. Okay, so I serve on a CUNY-wide digital initiatives committee, and I volunteered to lead a digital preservation working group, which is a subcommittee, to attempt to get CUNY-wide implementation of some basic digital preservation practices. The committee consists of 6 librarians and archivists from across the CUNY libraries, and our plan is to identified as a goal to get to the U.S. National Digital Stewardship Alliance's levels to help libraries get to level 1 all across the board. This involves discussing where we are, each of our own levels in the NDSA matrix, identifying the resources we'll all need to get there, software, staffing, digital storage, determining which librarians at each campus might have an interest in participating, which we did through a preliminary survey we sent across CUNY libraries to find the most interested and relevant librarians. Developing a checklist tool that we're going to use to do personalized consultations with each participating librarian to identify basic issues they could address to get them through to level 1. These will be very basic pieces of advice like get unique copies off of external media, make several backups in different locations, what is a checksum, sort of really basic stuff for a lot of people. There are some of us who know all of these things and can't do it yet because we don't have the resources, and there are some people who are really starting from scratch in terms of their knowledge in this area. We're also going to develop a basic website that will outline our priorities along with language that explains our goals to library leadership and help support campus librarians in advocating for resources. And then we're going to establish a list of resources we're going to push toward for the chief librarian. So we're about to start our consultations this semester, develop our website, and we're also considering setting up digital clinic or office hours where committee members can advise walk-ins. We look forward to moving forward with this project and reporting back further as it develops, and thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. All right, everyone. I'd like to talk to you today about the Software Metadata Recommended Format Guide, which we affectionately call SMRF. This guide summarizes and defines metadata elements to describe software in a variety of contexts. It's meant to be adaptable, usable in systems across libraries, museums, archives, and a whole manner of repositories. It is not meant to be an exhaustive, prescriptive guide to what fields or labels you should use. Instead, it's meant to provide a framework for cultural institutions and collections to capture metadata about software to support their collection goals. The Metadata Working Group of the Software Preservation Network authored this guide. SMRF is divided into 5 main sections. Each section is guided by a question. And here are the questions. What are the software? How is the software distributed? Who is responsible for the software? What is needed to run the software? And finally, what is the software made of? Each section contains a table of metadata elements. While they do have suggested names, it's best to think of them as concepts. This was designed to maximize flexibility for the cataloger to identify where a particular piece of information could best be organized or mapped to within their system. You'll spot there are certain elements that are repeated in different sections. This is a good time to point out that the sections that structure the guide are also not meant to be prescriptive. We make no claim that elements grouped in the same section in the guide necessarily belong together in the system that you're using. As a cataloger, feel free to use the guide structure where it makes the most sense for you, your collection, and your users. This is a lightning talk, so I'll be speedy with these sections. Know that we had lots of discussion about the best way to structure, name, and frame the content in this guide. File formats is a great example. One of our early drafts conflated this concept with physical media format, but of course there's lots of software, research, and newer software that never lived on a specific piece of physical media. Depending on what you do and how your organization collects software, there could be a number of ways you can interpret this element. You might find, as we did, it shares a lot in common with the concept of distribution mechanism. In general, we tried to add usage notes wherever we could to help disambiguate the many overlapping concepts. Here is a wonderful example of how complex authorship and responsibility for software can be. Blade Runner 1997 was programmed by Lewis Castle, created and developed by Westwood Studios, and published by Virgin Interactive. It is now maintained and republished by Night Dive Studios. So these distinctions are certainly subtle, and some are specific to software. The person who had the original idea might not be the person who wrote the code to implement those ideas. Some software is maintained by a group of volunteers who evolve over time, while other software is maintained by the companies who distribute and sell that software. The guide tries to provide context for software-specific complexities like this. There's lots more, so I encourage you to read the guide. Thank you all for listening and joining today. On this slide, you'll see a link to the SMRF guide, which includes a link for feedback. We hope to improve and iterate on it so we can help our future practitioners in the field.
Hello, I'm just sharing my screen. Just a moment. Right, thank you, iPres community, for listening. In 2020, we created a DPC RAM. Sorry, I should introduce myself. I'm Fabiana Fabi Barziotti. I am Digital Asset Manager at LSE Library here in London. In 2020, we created a DPC RAM analysis for our digitized collections, a node for born digital institutional archives, and a third RAM for the externally acquired born digital archives. The results demonstrated that we had a solid basic level, as you can see in the image, but it also highlights some gaps. Since then, we turned our focus to these gaps and prioritized our actions. This year, myself and Silvia Galotti, our archivist with responsibilities for born digital archives, created a unified RAM for born digital and digitized collections, and we could clearly see an increase of maturity level in all capabilities. I'm spending the next few minutes highlighting how we achieved this. First, to mention, we reviewed the job descriptions for my role and the Digital Library Assistant too. In 2020, Silvia Galotti started working with us, and she has responsibility for the management of born digital archives, and another archivist contributes towards this work too. As a result, responsibilities for managing digital collections are clearer now, with more staff available and fully trained. We have upskilled ourselves and use a broader range of specialized software and applications. The library also created a community of practice, which I am responsible for, who supports learning and application of data wrangling and the adoption of computer applications to streamline complex workflows. Our software as a service is now fully implemented and operational. It fully supports preservation microservices to all file formats and that we have in our care. Our open access policies and empowers as well our digital library. But a new system requires new workflows, and we developed end-to-end workflows for digitized and born digital archives. These workflows are supported by the LSC Digital Toolkit, which was created by my colleague Nick Bywell, and are now fully embedded into our business as usual activities. Our legal basis is strong, with the appointment of a copyright officer. Together, we created a licensing policy and dissemination risk assessment questionnaire, and have now an up-to-date digital library terms and conditions webpage. We are also very engaged with the wider digital preservation community, partially because we are members of DPC and use their resources extensively. And I also take part in one of their subcommittees. We presented, we have written blogs, and have shared our experiences in any opportunity we can. We have also hosted a trainee from the TNA's Bridging the Digital Gap program. Finally, we have created and updated our governance documentation, including digital preservation policy, ingest forecasts, how-to guides, digital assets register, depositors agreement with file format policy. Sorry. And to conclude, LSC Library has embedded digital preservation into its digital collections management. We have good governance, budget, staff training, and a culture to continue investing and working on the long-term preservation. Our focus on the next couple of years will be to continue ingesting legacy collections into our dams and to advance discoverability and access. In the next 5 years, I would like to have addressed exit strategies, or strategy one, only one, and have had broadened the scope of digital preservation program to other divisions at LSC. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. That was very, very interesting. I enjoyed that very much. So yes, a round of virtual applause to our 4 lightning talk speakers this morning, or afternoon, sorry, morning here in Washington, D.C. With that, we have happily several minutes for any questions you might have. So you feel free to add them through the chat, or as I said, raise your hand or just unmute yourself. So I open the floor.
I had a quick question actually for Jessica about the CUNY presentation that you did. It was really fascinating. I was wondering about the content of the libraries at CUNY in terms of who you're kind of, or what material you're advocating for digital preservation. Is it third-party material mostly? People think, oh, it's going to be saved elsewhere by somebody else, or is it CUNY's own kind of archives themselves?
Yeah, it's primarily what we're talking about, and in our preliminary survey, part of what we did was we asked folks to tick off a list, like, do you have, archival material? Do you have videos? Do you have, but we're really concerned with stuff we own, either produced by CUNY campuses or special collections material that we have rights to. So that can also include, digitized collections of special collections material. On my own campus, that's quite a lot of what we have. We have a number of, research collections that are special collections of interest to us. And that stuff, we've had grants to digitize it, and we need to make sure it's safe, and all of this stuff. So yeah, it's mostly that folks, especially in leadership, are very interested in the access portion. They want to make sure folks are using it, but it's hard to remind them that the flip side of that is the preservation portion.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jessica. Thank you. I can see that we've had a question in the chat there about the software metadata recommended format guide. So will the software metadata recommended format guide lead to the creation of an XML schema? And that's from Nicholas Bywell.
Thanks. We have at the end of the guide a few crosswalks. So if there's an existing schema in place, you can see how the concepts in the guide align with that. So that, I think, is the closest thing, because we don't have a specific kind of plan to create an XML schema. We're really interested at this phase, now that the first version has been kind of put out there, how people are implementing things. Are they kind of implementing these fields in MARC? And if so, what fields are they using? And does that match up to what we had kind of suggested in our crosswalks? So that's the sort of feedback we're interested in, if that kind of answers your question in a little bit more.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions for anyone?
I don't have a question, but I have a note to Jessica. Jessica, I suppose from my presentation, you get an idea that I have LSC have been the journey of digital preservation for almost 2 decades now. So it's not nothing I presented. It was created very, very quickly. I guess I come from the point of certain things were in place already, so in a very good position. But one of the things I find when a lot of people, some people contact me and talk about we're trying to implement. And I think one of the things is exactly this, is to create buy-ins, but lines of responsibilities and people to talk to, and but also at top level, but also work on the ground up. Who is actually doing the harvesting of this material, the ingest, all in the work process, and also create the infrastructure for even the minimum to be going through, even the minimum of technical ability that the organization needs. So it's having people actually doing the work, that sometimes you have to buy that to get that eventually, to get something going. So you can show people, now I have a system or whatever, and I have a portal where I can show some things online, but it does take time. So aiming at the minimum, but you're already doing a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that's why sort of in our committee, we're trying to both work on the leadership on the one hand, and also sort of speak to the librarians on the ground and say, you can do this with minimal effort. But yeah, I think the resource problem is a big one in terms of making sure that folks have storage to place these things, or have software that they can use fairly easily to just do some of this work. So yeah, it's kind of, we're trying to attack on all fronts, I think.
I like that.
Brilliant. If we don't have any more questions or comments,
I will take advantage of the moment. I hate to do that. If other people want to speak, but there are several different questions. But I'm vaguely curious, Hannah, about as soon as I hear the term intellectual property, immediately I think of a million different things that can come up as a result of that. When you're dealing with intellectual property questions with regard to the work, was there anything in particular that stood out that was challenging, or anything that was really positive?
the most challenging thing that I had was getting it past the ethics board of the university, because they were so concerned that I was taking advantage of people, even though I'm related to them and they were friends. They were really concerned that perhaps the villagers wouldn't understand what was happening. So actually that took 3 months to get through, and that's why I say it was a really robust policy. But once we got through and interviews were enabled, it was I think knowing that what was given to me was going to be stored and preserved and could be accessed and used, and what was really great, and the prestige that gave to the stories that we hear on a daily basis in the fields was really, I think that was the most remarkable thing. That, like, say, Durga Devi was delighted that somebody in an international community were wanted to hear about a ghost story that happened to her when she was 7 years old. And I think that was remarkable, and that's now part of a film that's being played in Russia and in Edinburgh and the Kathmandu Film Festival. So it's really given everybody such a boost. And because we don't have the resources to store it ourselves, being part of doing that as part of the research, my master's, and I'm going further on to do a PhD, that's really made us be able to do it. And so, yeah, it's just a safeguarding for the future. So, yeah, it's just been remarkable, yeah. Does that answer what you asked? I don't know.
It does. It does. It's fascinating. The value is obvious and it's wonderful. It's mostly sort of like every time I think intellectual property and you say it takes 3 months, I said, oh, yes, I can absolutely see why that would be the case. So
yeah,
I'm glad it worked out, and hopefully it's, I don't know, maybe it'll be easier the next time. So thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, then I think, Ruth, should we move on to the games?
Yeah, happy to do that. So just a few minutes early, but that's fine. So the first game we've got is Digital Preservation Jeopardy. And I'm really pleased to present Kelly Stewart. Thank you so much, Kelly, for stepping in and offering to present this for us. So Kelly's from Artifactual, and we shall hand over to Kelly for Digital Preservation Jeopardy.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. I have had a good 5 minutes of training here on a computer that I am not used to. So this is going to go absolutely smoothly. I'm really looking forward to it. I am going to do a couple of things like share my screen, and I'll go through some rules. Well, I want to say that with a real Scottish accent, but I can't. Rules. I'm sitting right next to Sharon McMeekin from DPC, who is laughing. All right, here I go. I'm going to share my screen. 2% I'll do this. Okay. All right, can you all see my screen, the rules? Is anyone allowed to talk? Can anyone see?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Ted and I desperately run for our mute buttons. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so we are playing Jeopardy, Digital Preservation Jeopardy. I'm Canadian, of course. Alex Trebek was Canadian, so I feel that I'm doing this in the time-honored tradition of Canadians everywhere. The rules are: players are divided into 3 teams, between 1 to 4 people on a team. Not sure how we're going to accomplish that, but we'll give it a go in a minute. Teams select a category, and then the team has 10 seconds to answer the question. I will say which team gets to answer. You don't need to sort of press buttons or yell or something like that. If the answer is correct, the team earns the number of points on the category that the question was worth. And if the answer is incorrect, the question stays on the board. After the answer is given, whether correct or incorrect, it is the next team's turn. The game continues until all the points under each category have been chosen and questions have been correctly answered. The team with the most points wins. I don't know. It's just for pride only, I think. I don't think there's a great prize here at the end. You can come by the artifactual table and I'll give you a sticker if you haven't, if you don't have one yet. Okay, so let's play. I'm just going to, how many folks do we have here on the call?
So we have 18 people on the call.
Okay, 18 people, 3 teams, 4 times 3 is 12. Maybe I'll do it this way. Ruth, are you playing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna just, apologies for kind of forcing this along here, I guess. Ruth, Ted, Jessica.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm just trying to, I gotta see all the people here. Ruth, Ted, I'm sorry if you're seeing yourself in a recursive fashion. Ruth, Ted, and Jessica, Deanne, and Fabiana, team 1. And if you could rename yourself so that Fabi, for example, you'd say team 1 beside your name at the beginning, that would be useful. And maybe just choose one of you to, if possible, to be the speaker. Or maybe not. Maybe you just speak up if you're team 1 and you know the answer. Akiko, Richard, Karen, Nicholas, room 3, TIC. If there's someone actually there, you're team 2. Is there somebody actually in room 3 TIC? Yes, Sharon's telling me to skip that one.
I don't think the room is able to speak.
The room can't answer.
Nope.
AI in action. And then team 3 will be Suzanne, Matthias, Shinwoo, Keith, and Angela from Canada. Hi, Angela. Okay, so team 2, put your name exactly. Deanne has done this correctly. And team, just put your team name and like put your team 1 or team 2 before your name. That would be super useful. And team 3, I think we're all getting the hang of it. This is all going very well. I think we'd all agree, given my 5 minutes of training. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Let's give it a go and see what happens.
No questions, only answers here.
Okay, Bobby. All right, I'm gonna click the let's play button. Okay, so I'm gonna close that. Can you all see? I don't know how much of the screen you're seeing. Is all the Zoom stuff in the way?
Oh, that's okay. If you've got a couple of screens, you can move stuff out the way.
Sadly, I
but
have one
obviously-
small screen. I'm very sorry about that. Technology, am I right? Okay, digital preservation Jeopardy. We have 5 categories: standards, formats, tools, concepts, and general, which is going to be a catch-all, I'm guessing. I am going to ask team 1 first to choose a category and a point amount, and then I will read out the question.
Okay, what do we feel our strong suit is here?
How about formats? Should we go for formats? Not that I'm saying that's a strong point, but just picking one.
Let's start with formats. What value do you want to do?
Let's 800.
800 formats for 800.
Sure.
Yep.
Fatima, if you're just joining, hello and welcome. Please join team 2, because I think we lost a player with the AI in room 3. Sorry, formats for 200?
800, we're feeling very
800,
very
oh,
optimistic.
confident. I love it, love it. Okay, let's give it a go.
Starting regretting it now.
Okay. All right, team 1 answer only. In 2002, remember to answer in the form of a question, by the way. In 2002, the UK National Archives Digital Preservation Department created the first version of this online registry of data file formats and their supporting software product.
Oh, I could have a go at that.
That's
What is pronom?
I believe you are absolutely correct.
Yay!
Good
Very
work.
good.
Good job.
I'm going to go back because I think I need to reset. So one moment, please, while I reset. And hopefully when I go to the next screen, I don't know what happened there. Somebody won. I'm sorry. Oh no, we can't go back? Mother of pearl. I wanna, okay, one moment, please. Talk amongst yourselves, folks. Oh, now you're seeing all the questions. I'm gonna stop sharing. The peanut gallery here in the room is really enjoying my expertise. Okay, I'm gonna try that one more time. I'm gonna share my screen. It is. And again. And we can go here.
Well, that was a trial. Let's say that was a trial. It's a warm up. We're getting.
It's a warm up. Okay, so the answer here. Oh my! Why are we at 4? I'm unclear as to what's going on.
They only have 3 teams. We only have 3 teams, right? Yeah.
You picked this one. Okay. It was all going so well. Now it's really not. 1, 2, close. That's fun. Oh my goodness.
If the past 2 years have taught us anything, it's about the magic of Zoom.
Okay, I think I got it now. Okay, I'm just gonna find you all. Hello, you all. I'm sorry, I was doing some background work there. I'm gonna share my screen one more time. Thank you so much for your patience. Clearly, my burgeoning career as a game show host has come to a crashing end. So we've got pronoun. Team 1 gets 800 points. So I'm going to go to the next. I'm going to go to the board. That should not show up. Don't choose formats for 800. Choose a different. So team 2, you get to choose now. You can choose from any category and any amount except for formats for 800.
Okay, team 2, what are we thinking?
You're talking?
Hi. Why do you think I was laughing at?
I think
Sorry,
team
Kelly,
2 should go for 200.
Well, I disagree, Fabi. How tactical.
Competitive.
Oh, well, the rest of team 2 are fairly silent. So, well, I'll say tools for, 1,000. Oh, come on, room 3.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, crap.
Defined in RFC 8493, this convention is used to package arbitrary digital content so it can be reliably transferred over physical media or network transfer.
Right, okay, room 3, you picked this question.
Zip files?
What is zip files? Let's see. What is? Oh shoot! I should have gone to the next person. I'm really doing real well here. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to say the answer was Baggett. Team 3, you get to choose next. And I'm gonna just make sure I'm going in the right direction because that's a metaphor for my whole life, really. Am I going in the right direction? I want to. Okay, good. Team 3, you get to choose next. Any category, any amount, except for formats for 800.
Team 3 is shy, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
You have any idea, Matthias?
Yeah, I'm torn between formats and standards.
Those are good ones.
I also see tools for 8.
Tools for 8.
Wow.
Yeah. Bold group, a bold group. Okay. Oh, I didn't give you points. How much did you go for? 1,000, team 2? What was that? 800? I
think it was 800.
Okay, well, 800. We'll fix that in a minute. The question is, this wiki-based registry of digital preservation tools was originally created under the JISC-funded Spruce project. Team 3.
I'll go for it, Keith.
Could it be power? I'm not sure. Any better ideas?
I think I think Keith might have
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's
sounds
what I'm
more
saying.
plausible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got in the chat from Keith, what is copter?
Is
C-O-P-T-R.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
What points am I giving you? Was it 800? Okay. And team 2 should get 800, right?
No, they didn't get it right.
No,
You didn't
we-
get it right. That's
we got
right.
it
Okay,
wrong.
I understand. I'm so sorry. Okay.
God, Fabi, so competitive.
I didn't know I was.
All right. We're
This game is bringing the worst out of me.
circling back around to team 1. Choose a way.
Shall we try standards?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
4.
Maybe 600. So we.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. This international community-based organization is a legal entity under Dutch law and offers a certification based on characteristics of trustworthy data repositories.
I feel like I knew it at one point.
I know, me too.
Just a moment.
And
what is it, the Seal Core Trust?
Is that the answer?
Is that okay, Team 1?
Yep, that's fine.
Yep,
Yeah,
go for it.
I don't have anything else.
I think Alex Trebek might have a problem with this, but I'm going to give it to you, Javi, because that's just the kind of host I am. The answer is what is Core Trust Seal?
Oh, no!
I disagree. Minus 300.
All right, that was 600, I believe. Yes. Yes.
Lost in translation. I watched their talk yesterday.
All right, we're doing really well here. Team 2, what you got? What you got? What would you like to choose?
Right, come on, team 2. We've got to pull this back.
General.
Yep. Well, we go for 600, 400.
Yeah, 600.
General for 600, please.
Oh, World Digital Preservation Day is celebrated on this recurring day. That's a relief. Recurring day every year.
Is that 3rd of November?
Between the two dates. Oh no, thank God Sharon's left the room. In so much trouble.
I think it's November anyway.
Yeah.
And third? No?
I know.
I'm trying to think how to phrase it as a question. My answer would be when is the 3rd of November? I think that's the day, even if it's the wrong question.
You're looking, she's making eye contact with me.
Be nice to me. I just want some points.
I'm sorry, could you just say that one more time for me? What is your answer?
When is the 3rd of November? Or what is the 3rd of November?
When it's the answer is here, let me give you the answer. I'm so sorry.
But it's Thursday.
I'm so sorry.
It's the 3rd this year.
Team 2.
Maybe you can give them half of the points because you got a month.
I would happily do that if I could, but the technology will not allow. I can barely operate this system. You can't tweak it.
Okay, I will go down with the ship. It's fine.
Okay, team 3. You can choose a category and an amount.
Should we go big team 3?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Which category? We're feeling lucky.
I would go for standards, I think. I already regret this decision though.
Never mind. Never mind.
Team
okay,
3.
Yeah, go for standards 1,000, please.
1,000. Oh my, here we go. Okay. At the heart of a METS document, oh, close to my heart, this section outlines the hierarchical frame for the digital library object. At the heart of a METS document, this section outlines the hierarchical frame for a digital library object.
May I think aloud? Isn't that the structural map part?
Yeah, I would go for that one as well.
Sure.
Any better ideas?
I think we have consensus.
Yeah. But now we have to formulate it in a question, right?
Yes.
So then I think I would say, what's the
Xin Wu says struct map as the keyword. So what is the struct map?
Nodding my head, giving the answer away. Absolutely correct. What is a struct map or structural map? Very good, team 1. Did that work? Did I get? Okay, team 2. Team 2. Pick a category. And
are we back to team 1 now, or is that team? Sorry, yeah, no, you're probably right.
I'm sorry. Was that to be?
Yeah, team 3 just won a question, and now we're team 1. Yes.
Okay.
You got this, Kelly.
Do I though? Do I?
Yeah, you do.
I will add those points over on team 3 when we get to the screen. So we're back to team 1. My apologies entirely for biasing, I guess, this competition to team 1. So team 1, pick a category and an amount.
Should we go for concepts because nobody's done that yet?
Yeah, or formats. Those are both empty.
Yeah, we did our formats one that we chose.
Oh, that's right. That's what we did first. Okay, let's do concepts, I guess.
Yeah. Should we go for an 800 again? Keep it exciting.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. Okay. In 2019, the NDSA released version 2.0 of this resource, which offers practitioners tiered approaches to building their digital preservation programs across functional areas.
Oh, this is the digital preservation matrix that I was talking about in my, the levels of digital preservation. Yeah, that's the one that we were just talking about in my presentation. What's the official name? The levels of digital preservation? I think that's right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they did just release one in 2019 because I saw a presentation about it at DLF.
So
that year.
what is the NDSA preservation
Level.
levels? Yeah.
Okay. What are the levels of preservation?
Yay.
Perfect. Okay, team one.
Thanks, Jessica.
I'm not going to give you more points because I already gave you an extra 1,000. So now you're 200 up. But I am going to give the lovely team three the 1,000 points that I should have given them the last time.
Thank you
That's
very
right,
much.
right? Am I right? I think I'm
Yep.
right-ish. Okay, perfect. This is just going so well. Back to our board, and now team two. Yet to get on the scoreboard. It's time to pick a category and an amount.
Go on,
Try
team. It looks
format 800.
Format?
800.
Oh, I don't
format
think we can
800.
do, well, we can do 800, but team one did that first. So we need to pick a different one, don't we?
It's absolutely
So
correct.
do you want 600 or 1,000?
Might as well go big, go 1,000 then.
Go hard or go home.
Love it. Okay, here we go. The Digital Preservation Coalition listed this type of content, typically saved as .swf files, practically extinct in their bit list of digitally endangered species. .swf files.
Rings a bell.
I am completely useless. And when I do my game in a bit, you'll see why.
I helped look at this list and I can't remember. So
There's, might be some sort of directory listing file. So and there was a question: what file extension provides directory listings or something?
I'm happy to go with whatever you think. I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, it's just a pure guess, really.
No idea, yes. Akiko?
No idea, I'm afraid.
No answer? Gonna give it a go? Give it a guess. What type of
Oh,
content?
sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
So it was
Oh,
about
team
directory.
two, room three's just put in the chat, what are WordStar files?
Answer?
I guess.
I think it's better than no answer. Will we go with that?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, the flesh. Oh, bloody flesh.
Oh dear.
All right. Moving over to team three. Choose your category and your point amount.
What do we think?
Shall we go for a general question?
Yeah. We haven't done that yet.
Oh.
Is that the mouse hovering over 800, Kelly? Like
I can make it hover if you would like. I'm not trying to lead you on.
I'm good with 800.
All
Yep,
right,
sure.
800 it is. Here we go. All right, this multinational research project lasted 2 decades over 4 phases and aimed to develop frameworks for preserving authentic digital records. Multinational research project lasted 2 decades over 4 phases and aimed to develop frameworks for preserving authentic digital records.
They took their time.
Wasn't Inter Paris was running pretty long? Was it any better guesses? Don't know.
That's a good guess, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Final answer?
What What was the Inter Pares project?
Very good. From my
Wow.
hometown and my home university, Inter Pares project. All right, that was team 3, yes.
Yeah.
And that was
Yep.
for 800, yes?
Yep.
Thank you for.
So we've got 5 minutes left. Do you think we can fit in another round?
Oh my
or
gracious.
What do
Okay.
you think?
Going so slowly. It's my fault. I'm in top. Okay, team 1, red lightning round. Let's see if we can do this quickly.
I would say general.
Yeah, general. Are we going to go
General.
for the big 1000?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it. It's the last round.
All right.
If
In
you
this-
fail, we fail miserably.
In this year, iPres was hosted in London, the only other year in which the international conference took place in the UK. So which year was the iPres conference last hosted in the UK?
Jesus. Not recently.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know this.
I don't know. Was it 2000? Was it 2012?
Just go with
Sounds
that.
good.
Yeah,
Final
sounds
answer?
good.
It was
2012.
before my time with digital preservation.
Hey, never mind.
2008.
Ah.
So sorry, team
Was the
1.
first one.
Okay, let's get team 2 on the board. Come on, team 2, you can do this. Pick a category and a amount. Formats, did I hear? Team 2?
Yeah.
And
Should we go for the easiest to try and get off the
Yeah,
ground?
200s.
all right, here we go. This term is used to describe the process of converting a digital object into a more sustainable file format.
Oh, normalize.
this
Is it normalization?
What is it? Migration.
Migration. Migration.
Normalization.
No, I think we should go with Nicholas.
Normalization.
Yeah, you're on the board. Woohoo! Okay, team 3.
God.
Team 3. Pick a category. Give me an amount.
Shall we go for concepts with 1,000? Yeah.
All right, here we go. This activity is necessary to sustain access to digital data that is environment dependent, such as video games and AutoCAD architectural drawings.
Yeah,
Someone said migration, something similar.
I think
No, not. It must be if then it's the emulation, as Shinwu suggested, and Keith in the
Yeah.
chat as well.
So final
What is-
answer?
yeah.
What is emulation?
Very good.
Wow, we did
Team
great.
3, an extra 1,000. Do we have time for one more? Okay.
We're on the 5 o'clock mark. So
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so I'm going to end this thing.
well done, team 3.
Team 3. I thought it was going to be team 1. I'm not lying. Team 3. Very good job. Congratulations. Thank you for putting up with my questionable skills as a host.
Thank you for so much for stepping in, Kelly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I don't know whether should we kind of acknowledge Ruby Martinez and Tricia Patterson, who I believe set it up. Yeah. So yeah, thank you to them as well. Definitely. Thank you. That was good fun. So the second game is file format or fake. So Karen Williamson's going to present this, and it's a fun advert for file format registries and Pronom. So take it away, Karen. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm meeting this with trepidation.
Well, yes. So am I now after that abysmal performance. have a look. Can you see the file format or fake sign?
We can.
We're good, yes,
yeah.
from beginning. There we go. Perfect. Okay, fab. So hi everybody. My name is Karen Williamson. I work for an investment company in Edinburgh called Aberdeen. And as you may have guessed from my abysmal performance a second ago, we are at the very start of our preservation journey. And I wanted to develop this game to talk a little bit about how the tools that have helped me at the beginning of this journey, and also to give people who are a bit further on than me the chance to test their skills. So this game is also not quite as high tech as the previous one, but you can feel free to shout out your answers if you are so inclined. So we're not. Oh, we're having a problem with moving the slides on for some reason. There we go. Okay, so what you're going to see is just a basic multiple choice questions. Choose A, B, or C. I will trust you to mark your own answers and keep your own score. There are a few trick questions in there, so that the better version file formats among you might notice that. And it's really just to sort of learn a bit more about Pronom, which is a tool by the National Archive in the UK. So we will start with the first question, which is on Adobe files. So which of these file types is not an Adobe file type? So I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Feel free to, if you think you know, you can shout out the answer or discuss amongst yourselves.
Any of the above.
Isn't Vector pre-Adobe? Don't know.
I will say that this one is not a trick question, so there is an actual fake answer up there.
Oh, there is a fake one. Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of these is definitely fake.
Frame Maker seems kind of fake.
Yeah, I think it might be Frame Maker then, because I think Vector's definitely it's a type of file format, isn't it? So, and I've used Adobe Illustrator, I think. So.
Okay, I shall reveal all. The fake is Vector.
Yeah.
So Vector's a type of graphic. So yeah, that's one of my sneaky ones where there actually is a fake that might convince you, might confuse you. So next up we have JPEGs. So I very recently learned that there are different extensions for JPEG files. So which of these is not a JPEG file extension?
I think the last one looks a bit suspicious.
I love your reasoning. It's that one's fake because it looks suspicious.
But
I
not
agree.
one.
Any advance on the end one?
Yeah, I would agree. JGI, let's go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. Well done.
My gut's feelings.
So the first thing to say this, I did this in person yesterday, and David Clipsham, who is responsible for a lot of the content on Pronom, did not get 10 out of 10. So any ones that you do get right, you should be proud of yourself because it's an achievement. So next up we have spreadsheets. So which of these is not a type of spreadsheet file? And I deliberately chose older formats, so you won't see Excel on this one.
No idea. Let's
Yes,
go
I agree with Nicholas there.
Yeah, let's go with SuperCalc.
SuperCalc. Okay, let's have a look. SumCalc is the fake. You're not the only
You
one.
would think SumCalc is a real one.
Yep, that's why I picked it, because it likes to numbers. That's the basis of my thinking on that one. So just to point out as well, you can see under the SuperCalc version that I've put, there are 3 versions of SuperCalc formats listed on Pronom, but no further information. And users can add information on formats if they have it or have done the research on it. So it's just to highlight the open source nature of Pronom, that it can be added to by the community. And they've actually developed a starter pack that if you are interested in file format identification, you can do it and help them out a bit, which I think is quite exciting. Okay, next up, EXIF file extensions. So that stands for Exchangeable Image File Format. So which of these is not an EXIF file extension?
Yeah.
Wave.
Okay, any advance on Wave? Okay, I will move on in 4, 3, 2, 1. GIF. So I didn't know either that audio files can be EXIF files. And also when I put this together, I actually had .png instead of .gif. And then they added .pfg to the list of EXIF file extensions. So things are always changing, which meant I then had to change the game as well, which for somebody who's not entirely sure what they're doing was interesting. So next up we have Microsoft. So we all use, I would imagine, some form of Microsoft every day unless you are an Apple user. If you are an Apple user, your questions are coming. So which of these is not a Microsoft file extension? And if you are very well versed in file formats, you might notice that this one is a trick question, and I'll explain more when I give you the answer.
Since Microsoft runs from A to Z, did that mean K is wrong?
Oh, okay. I like the use of logic.
I'm not sure I'd call it logic.
I would. Okay, so for this one, I dared to open the chat and now it's not, there we go. Right, so XLZ was the one that I had as the wrong file format. So the reason that I said that this is a trick question was because it actually wasn't when I created the question. And then when I presented this game yesterday, people who had more knowledge than me said that XLZ actually is a format. It's just not been processed by Pronom. So it just sort of goes to show that the sort of open source nature of it means that there's always more work required. So there is an XLZ file, but I didn't know it when I created this game. So I just wanted to sort of point that out, that even if it's not in the sort of file format registries that you're looking for, you can also look in places like Wikidata and the Library of Congress file format registries for more information on file formats as well. So the next one is audio. So which of these is not an audio focused file type?
The first one seems suspicious, but I'm like shy now about which one is like it's that way.
I think the broadcast wave is a bit too obvious, so is no.
No, I think I've heard BWAV somewhere. So I wonder if that's broadcast wave, but I might be wrong.
I mean, I don't know what.
Yeah, FLAC. I think you're right, Keith. FLAC's its own thing.
Flaky wave. I can imagine some geek one actually creating something called Flack Wave.
Okay, so what one do we think is the fake?
I think we should go with Keith and say that FLAC's its own thing. So should we say, yeah,
yes,
that FLAC then? Yeah.
Well done,
Yay.
Keith. So yeah, he's absolutely right. stands for free lossless audio codec, but I just added a wave on the end because the other ones had waves on them. Yeah, I sort of heard somebody saying that I'm a bit shy now. That's kind of the whole point of this game, is that you don't actually need to know because the file format registries have all the answers. And when I developed this, I was sort of thinking about archivists who do digital preservation as part of a job, so may not have the time to delve into the world of file formats in the way digital preservationists do. So don't be shy at it. Like I say, even the people who developed Pronom, where I took the information from, did not get 10 out of 10, which made me feel very vindicated that I didn't know any of this before I started. Okay, so we'll go on to 7, email. So we all use every day, I'd imagine. Which of these is not an email file type?
That's really hard because you hardly ever see the extension of an email.
Yep.
Let's go with Angela.
Yeah.
So
Is OMG something, I think, with the Outlook one.
OMGs, oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, maybe.
Not another email.
Well, I mean, after the pandemic, I must say, when the pandemic hit, I was like, no more emails, please. I want to change my name.
Yep, so Angela is saying in the chat e-box, because M-box definitely is. Angela,
I went
absolutely
for
right.
Yeah.
Yes, I literally just stuck an E in the front for email. No other connection. So well done, Angela. Yep, so we're on to question 8, which is text. So which of these is not a text-based file extension?
Is XYZ a thing?
I'm gonna copy your answer because I don't know any of this. Don't recognize.
Very tempted by OTT simply because OTT. Okay.
Sorry, I hit the button before I meant to there. I was sorry, I interrupted your musing. Yeah, Angela, we need to catch up because you clearly have good knowledge on these subjects. I did the sort of same as I did before. I went for sort of older or open source file formats that people maybe hadn't seen before, just in an effort to try and confuse people. But yeah, XYW is an XY Write for Windows document format. And I should say at this point as well that the text underneath was all taken from Pronom. So they also tell you a bit about the file formats. And in some cases, there's a lot more information there. I just didn't have enough space under the box to put it in. But I also think that XYZ was one of the ones where there actually is content for it, but it just hasn't been put through Pronom as yet. So that's just another one of those sneaky ones that they brought up to me yesterday as well. I didn't have time to change my slides, so I apologise for that. Okay, so yep, if you don't use Microsoft, here's your Apple question. Which of these is not an Apple developed file type? And this one had quite a lot of chat in the room about it yesterday, which is quite interesting.
Oh dear, I don't use that.
iWork, maybe? Sounds a bit too generic.
I think somebody in the session yesterday said, like, it can't be audio because it has vowels. And then someone else pointed out, well, no, they all have vowels. So the logic does not work on that one. Well, any advance on iWork?
It's just a complete guess.
Seems like a good one.
Okay, we will move on. I've lost the chat that I did have. Oh, it's there. We're quiet. Okay.
Oh.
Like audio is made up. Yep, and again, just underneath the iBook, you can see that there's sort of an outline record only and requires further detail. So it's a case of the Pronom team know that it exists and they want to get that information out there, but they don't know anything else about it. So I think in those cases, any help is appreciated. So we're now actually on to the last question, which is PDF. So which of these is not a PDF file extension?
PDFR.
Oh, that was decisive. I like it.
Think. Good R.
I think so too.
I agree.
I have no idea.
Yep, we all agree.
Let me
You're all right.
let me open my Adobe here and check.
No cheating. But yeah, PDFR. But PDFR is also apparently one that does exist. It's just not in Pronom or on any of the format registries as yet. So apparently it stands for PDF raster, which I was told yesterday, but I didn't know that. So that's the end of the game. Like I say, I sort of put it together because I was coming to iPres and feeling a little bit out of my depth with no real idea of what I was doing. And I wanted to sort of pull together a game that I felt was a little bit lighthearted and a bit fun, but also sort of showed the tools that are available to people like me who are very much at the beginning, and learning from people like you guys that know what you're talking about. So thank you very much for indulging me. I'm not sure if anyone's got any sort of suggestions or ideas for making it better or anything else that we could add to it or anything like that. But if you do, I'd be happy to hear them. But thank you very much for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you, Karen. That was great. Thank you.
Very humbling.
Yeah. That was brilliant.
Very creative and nice. I can see it's fun. Yeah, it was nice. Thank you.
Brilliant. I think that's us then. Shall we draw this one to a close? Thanks ever so much. Really enjoyed the session. It's been great. And yeah, I didn't know whether you wanted to add anything, Ted, to finish off.
No, just thank you to all of our speakers, Fabi and Jessica, Hannah and Diane, and to Karen and Kelly for the games. This was a lot of fun. This has definitely been the best part of my day. So thank you all very, very much. This has been good.
Could I just add thank you for being such excellent chairs as well. You helped that flow really well. So well done to you too as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay.
Have a good evening or
yes,
afternoon.
everyone enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of iPres.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye everyone.
Hope to see you all in Urbana-Champaign next year.
Do our best.